Hey guys, this is Zane. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm here today to discuss a bit of a juicy topic, and the reason I'm making this video is because I've had it on my mind for a very long time and I just want to talk about it, not to be controversial, but to enrich the conversation and the dialogue around hijab, in the hopes that women who are hijabis can remember how full and freeing the hijab is, and for women who aren't hijabis to maybe see the dimensions that there are to hijab, and for men to be more empathetic and mindful to their female loved ones and counterparts. So I believe that we are doing a disservice to the hijab by centering it around the male gaze. And the reason I think this has happened is because for so long men have literally been in positions of power, authority, influence, and they're also coming from their perspective in their male brain, which is a visual one. Men are visual creatures, and that isn't something that is discussable. Like, it is just a fact. If it wasn't a fact, why would Allah say in Surah An-Nur, ayah 30, believing men, like ordering believing men to lower their gaze? Why would half of all Muslims who are men be told to lower their gaze if lowering their gaze wasn't a challenge? It's clearly something that men struggle with, and it's clearly a desire that they need to address, in the same way a desire women need to address is the desire for being desirable. So men and women have their different challenges, and I think it's actually a good thing when it comes to a relationship. It's a healthy thing, and it's something that keeps the longevity and the romance and attraction alive, because woman, wife, wants to be desired by husband wants to desire what wife. So in a way, when this is implemented in society in a healthy, free way, it actually helps to protect the marital bond, in my opinion, and it helps to respect your partner. But I guess every person is free to decide what they would expect from their partner outside of the marriage. So that's not really for me to comment on, but it's just my opinion, and it's just a different thing to think about. So men who are visual creatures are in decision making and influential roles in society, and they're also human. They're also not exactly perfect. So when they're in situations where they want to protect the women around them, it's very easy for the discussion surrounding hijab to be limited to other men and to what other men will think or what other men will see. And I need to protect my daughter because she's hit her period now, and like, I need to protect her because I know what men are like, and all these things. And in a way, there's wisdom to it, and I'm not here to argue and say that's an irrelevant point, you shouldn't make your daughter wear hijab. But I would hope that we would make more of a conscious effort as society to lower our gaze to the point that it wouldn't matter if there's a bikini or a burkini in front of you, you would be lowering your gaze to both. Because I think what men need to understand is that there are certain men out there who are going to look no matter what, whether it's a slit of eyes, whether it's a strip of ankle or the palm of a woman's hand or her neck or a beautiful face or even a normal face. A man is going to look, because a man who wants to look is going to take what he can get. So we as women should stop trying to account for men who can't control themselves, and we shouldn't see hijab as just protection from a man's gaze, because it's not just that. Fine, in part, I'm not going to sit here and argue that it's not that. It definitely is in some ways. However, I genuinely think that's like 25% of it, and there's so much more to hijab in day-to-day life. And to just express the point, after I wore hijab, which was like almost 2 years ago now, I received so much more attention from men after wearing hijab, to an unhealthy amount more. Like, it wasn't even rational or just like understandable. And just because you wear hijab doesn't mean men are going to stop looking at you. They're going to probably look at you more, but it's just going to be a different category of men or a different type of man. So we should stop centering it around the male gaze. We should definitely recognize that it's there, and Allah knows best. Like, we live in a society with both men and women, right? But we need to also recognize all the other aspects of hijab. And in a nutshell, hijab should not be about protecting oneself from a man's gaze, because that is a futile mission. It should be about rejecting any form of external validation that does not come from that person's relationship with Allah. So let me explain, let me get into it. So obviously in society you've got money, you've got social class, and you've got that person's relationship with themselves. There's obviously more to it, right? But financially speaking, you can chase and chase and chase and chase and never feel like you've got enough. Socially speaking, you can try and seem like you're part of a certain class but always feel like an outsider. And in terms of your personal life, if you're not personally validating your existence and your love for yourself from the pure fact that you exist and that you are Allah's creation, if you are not doing that, you are just going to be subject to being a slave to these things in society. And my issue is, and the connection here is that because the dialogue around hijab has been male-centered for so long, it's almost paved the way for the parasite of capitalism and consumerism to grow, because we have simplified hijab to just mean covering your hair and your body. But in actuality, it's so much more than that. It's about rejecting any form of validation from outside of it. And in its core, hijab is simplicity and minimalism and focusing on one's relationship with Allah. But because of the male-centered rhetoric, it's now become just covering your hair and your body. So then women, even when covering their hair and their body, are still feeling like they're not pretty enough, still feeling like they're not cool enough, like they're not dressing trendy enough. And consumerism has made it worse. Fast fashion has made it worse. All the beauty industry's made it so much worse. Capitalism's made it so much worse. Instagram's made it so much worse. And all of these industries, what they have in common is that they are capitalizing off a woman's feeling that she is not enough, that she's not pretty enough, beautiful enough, rich enough, cool enough, okay? So I hope you can see the point I'm trying to make, that, for example, let's say you have a woman who's dressing modestly, you can't see her figure that well, but she's wearing a hijab and it's just Chanel, Chanel, Chanel. Is that woman worshipping Allah, or is she like following a massive designer brand and she's basically paying more respect to that brand than she is to her Lord? I don't know. But it's just something for you to sit and think about, because I'm not here to at anyone and say and put even more criticism on hijabis. It's not my job to do that, and I don't think it's a healthy thing. But I just think it's something that we need to think about, because I think women receive enough criticism, to be honest. But I think if we can manage to do this, and if we can manage to focus more on ourselves and center the conversation on us as women, and take a bit longer to think before we watch like an Instagram baddie hijabi buy a brand new $30 scarf and model it and basically say, you need this in your wardrobe, capsule wardrobe designer. Like, if we just think about it a bit more, we'd realize that it's all BS. Like, it's actually all BS, and that the point of this hijab is not just to cover your hair. And I actually think it's probably one of the least important things. The point of this hijab is for you to realize that this world is nothing, it's a mirage, and that you will never be enough to society, you will never be enough to Instagram, you're never going to be enough to the rich or to any person in this world. You are only ever going to be enough to your Lord, and you need to feel that within yourself, because that validation is something that hijab, I believe, can uniquely give you. And I believe someone can be more mindful of Allah without wearing a hijab than a hijabi who's decked out in designer and who has a full face of makeup on and she's posting every single thing she does. I think so, personally. But Allahu Alam, again, Allahu Alam what's in people's hearts. It's, again, all about intentions at the end of the day. So something might look a certain way and I might have a criticism of it, but in the end, maybe they're a better Muslim than me. I don't know. But I think if we could manage to make this discussion less about a man's eyes and more about a woman's closeness to her Lord, we would be so less critical on women, and we could also be so much more mindful as like ourselves as Muslims. And it would also make hijab something that even women without hijab are practicing, because it's about putting Allah first, not about protecting yourself from men. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this food for thought discussion, and yeah, comment your opinion because I'd love to hear it.